Welcome back to the Heritage Live Weekly, everyone. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we watch the Heritage auctions, talk the market, and this week, PWCC also got in trouble, so we're talking about that a little bit. Hope to see you guys next week, and hope you enjoy the auction recap this week. As always, we fire up with Atari block. I'm just going to keep chatting with you guys here a little bit, and then we'll browse through and see what's up this week. We actually have a few really big ones. Hello from Atlanta, new to video game investing, awesome channel and content. Thank you, Gregory. But there's already one too many Gregs in this channel, I'm gonna be honest with you, so you might have to change your username. I appreciate you coming in here, but ooh boy. Sent in my Player's Choice sealed Super Mario World to WATA this week. Do you think Player's Choice has a future? Absolutely, Crangy, especially on a game like Super Mario World. No one is buying Black Label Super Mario Worlds anymore, so what's the normal person supposed to do, right? It's like 40,000 minimum to get any Super Mario World factory sealed. Well, maybe not 40, you know what I mean? Maybe 20, 40,000 minimum. So yeah, I think the Player's Choice, especially on a game like that, has a lot of room to grow. I love Player's Choice in instances where getting the real version is near impossible. That's where I love Player's Choice games. Got a Mario Sunshine getting great now. It's perfect, other than the artwork on the backside is a small dent from stuff being stacked on top of it. Will the grade get hard for that by WATA? Potentially, Trevor. That is something that you really don't want to see. I would expect you to go down to like a 9.0, 9.2 range. If it's very bad, maybe 8.5. Dings and dents in DVD-style games are the worst. If you're just tuning in, if you just got here, make sure to hit the like button. Greatly helps the YouTube algorithm. And with that, I am going to fly through here. Well, shit. No, first we'll watch ET. First, let's check out ET right here. This will be the first auction of the day for this video. Because, like I've said before, I believe in ET in the future. I mean, you feel free to disagree with that, but I think the story on ET is very interesting. And here we see ET is actually selling for 216 bucks, so I'm probably going to pick one of these up eventually. Kind of one of those put my money where my mouth is type things. I hate sitting here being like, oh yeah, I love ET. But like, you know what I mean? I'll never buy one. I think I will buy one right away here. Anyways, let's take a peek at what we have coming up for auction today on Heritage. Could it be the legendary 9.8 A++ Spider-Man Atari 2600, $1,450? Now, it honestly has been a little bit since we've seen the Spider-Man come up for auction. So like, this could end for somewhere in the $4,000 range. I think the last ones that sold were somewhere around 2,000, 2,500. Here, let's just click into it. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Yeah, so 2,600 back in July 27th. So actually not that long ago. I was wrong. July, August, that's been about a month since we've seen a perfect condition Spider-Man. There's the over-under. Do we exceed 2,600 or do we not? Fair warning. We do have this Donkey Kong Classics right here, 9.8 A+. Already at $3,800. We have the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out complete in box, which, okay, it's a 7.5 complete in box, but on eBay, there was like an 8.5, I think, that sold for like $5,500, which sounds insane for only a complete in box Tyson, but I mean, hey, we'll see what this one does here at Heritage. We also have the Ninja Gaiden here, 8.5 A+, super cool game, obviously, Ninja Gaiden. And then we enter into this, which is just insane. This is insane to see in a weekly. How the hell did this not get put into a signature? We have Mario Bros. 3, 9.6 A+ Right Bros, just a later print of Mario 3. $19,800 already. Why? Why is that in the weekly? We also have an 8.5A Sandshrew print Pokemon Red here, already sitting at $8,700. Another huge game for a weekly. Conker's Bad Fur Day, cool to see it come up. Same with Mega Man 64. It's weird for how common Mega Man 64 is as a sealed game. We actually haven't seen that many come up yet in auction. We actually have a factory case of Gauntlet Legend 64. If you don't know, Gauntlet Legend 64 is actually one of the most common factory sealed N64 games. Factory cases have been available forever, and there have been a lot of them. But then in the middle of it all, we have Pokemon Ruby and Super Mario Bros. Both 9-ish grades here. One sitting at $2,500, other $750. Both might do well. Chocobo's Dungeon, this was a PlayStation. PlayStation's good. This is a good lot of PlayStation. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here, actually. They actually have Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the full edition here. No longer do we have to bid on the graded individual copies. You can just buy the full version. What a treat. But there's actually a lot of good stuff here. So they're saying PWCC was directly involved with the shill bidding and pumping. Wow, if so, I'm impressed with eBay's decisions. Morals over money, you don't find that often. Yes, just poking fun. That is what eBay is implying, is that PWCC internally must have been shill bidding their items. I just don't know if eBay is... Like, eBay is obviously trying to take this moral high ground on the issue, it just also seems like they're trying to kick PWCC off the platform. PWCC will just become an eBay competitor. Like I said earlier, I don't know if eBay wants to try and put together their own kind of eBay vault, collectibles trading, and kind of move that direction and just kind of rebrand eBay altogether. I don't know. It just seems weird to kick them off on a moral high ground basis. Just given all the bullshit that does go on eBay on a daily basis. PWCC already has a pretty established platform, poking fun. Like, I'm pretty sure on their website already you can run auctions and you can bid on the stuff the same as eBay. So losing eBay will obviously lose a lot of eyes in the beginning, but I think after a little bit PWCC will recover all the same. And here's the 9.8 A++ Spider-Man. As we saw, the last one that sold was mid-July and it sold for $2,600. So, there you go. Another Atari Spider-Man, another perfect Spider-Man in the books, $2,000. Sold for less than the last one. You know, perfect condition becomes a whole lot less interesting when everyone that's graded is basically in perfect condition. The only way one of these would really stand out is if we ever saw the really rare WATA 10.0 come up for sale, and I just don't think we will. So, if you don't know, this game has been submitted. Cases and cases of Spider-Man Atari have been submitted for grading, and yeah, that's where we sit. Been building up my sealed DS, Wii, and Wii U collection. Looking forward to the future sealed graded game market in 5 years. Yeah, Goob Noob, I'm starting to dabble around in Xbox 360, looking at some Wii games, looking at some DS games. Not making much for purchases yet, but you know, also PS3, just looking into that generation of games and seeing if I can find any value. Seeing games that maybe aren't nearly as appreciated as they should be right now. But I agree, I'm definitely interested to see where we are in 5 years from now. Yeah, in Asuma, I agree. If there is actual damning evidence against PWCC bullshitting and shilling their auctions, then they do deserve to be kicked off and eBay has made the right call. Regardless of, yeah, if eBay wants to stand on a moral high ground or how they want to handle it, I do agree that if internally PWCC is manipulating things, eBay made the right call. And here's the Donkey Kong, which it must just be the glare of the light, but it almost looks faded in here in the strip. I'm gonna have to look at this closer, but we're already seeing $6,000 of bidding action here. 9.8 A+ round seal early print Donkey Kong Classics on NES. One of these did just auction a little while ago too, so we're gonna have to go ahead and take a peek at this. We had, did we not have? Yeah, here we had a 9.8 A+ just back in July, $4,500, and this one sold for $7,200. Nice little 50%, 60% increase there in 1 month. To whoever the guy was that was asking if the WATA market is in jeopardy, nah, it's doing good. Here's that Mike Tyson's 7.5 no rev A orange bullet. This is a second print of Mike Tyson. You can see there's no indicator down here in the bottom right, and the bullets are orange. So that didn't really do anything. $600. It's weird that the eBay sale was so big. I'll have to look into it again, but this really didn't do much. Here's the Ninja Gaiden 8.5 A+. This is only an 8.5 A+, so remember that when you're seeing this bidding action. If we were to see one of the top tier high grade Ninja Gaiden come up for auction, it would explode, because that already sold for $3,960. And the 9. Okay, here we go. Back in the signature. So there you go. $18,600 for the 9.6 A+, $14,400 9.6 A+. Other than that, though, we don't really see it come up. September, March, a game that doesn't actually come up that much, despite it only being a, there's only one print variation, is what I'm trying to say. This oval print of Ninja Gaiden is the only one as far as I know. Interesting that it doesn't come up for auction all that much. I would personally think Ninja Gaiden would be more common than that, but Silver Surfer here is also kind of crushing for only an 8.0A. And Silver Surfer actually is a more difficult NES game. You can see they've actually only ever offered 2 other copies, 8.5A, 8.5B+, 960 each, well over a year ago. So here comes an 8.0A now for 2,160. A little bit over 2 times what a better one used to be selling for a year ago. A year and a half ago almost. Here comes the Super Mario Bros. 3 9.6A+. I don't know why this is in a weekly. This just doesn't really make sense to me. $31,000. Let's just watch this play out. There's nothing I can say that you guys don't know already. One of the most iconic NES games, near perfect grade. Yes, there probably will be a decently high population count on this, but it just doesn't matter. Demand will always be there to match Super Mario Bros. 3. Wow, wow, wow. And of course, you know, my only question for this Mario Bros. 3 is, how much more would it have sold for if it went to a signature? Like 33,600 is amazing, right? We should be able to just filter over to Right Bros. Oh yeah, look at that, right? We have 96 completed listings too. So we had the 9.8 A+, sell for 52,000 back in April. July 10th, 9.0, that's a Left Bros again. 9.6 A++, January, so there you go. This sold for 28.8. We just saw our copy sell for 33, and it's only a 9.6 A+. So there you go for price action. Definitely it's some decent appreciation on it, but not huge. Like, that's not huge appreciation to only see it go up about $5,000 in 8 months. Which in the video game world, I mean, only to see it go up by that much isn't much, but Pokemon Red 8.5A Sand Shrew print. This is, I guess, the most affordable one you'll probably ever get, unless we can see a lower bid one come up for auction. These Sand Shrew prints really have been, they have been outselling the Rattata prints. Whether they should or not, who knows? That's how the market treats them. The Pokemon Red sold for 10,500. We will get data on that as well. Conkers, if you don't know, is actually a pretty common factory sealed N64 game. This is another one that sold very late into the N64 life cycle, so there were a lot of excess stock of it. It's not near to the level of Perfect Dark or Gauntlet Legends or anything. It's kind of more in line with Mega Man 64 with how many are available, but obviously Conker's Bad Fur Day, one of the most iconic titles. The peak of rareware development, always going to be a great game, always going to have a lot of demand. I wish I would have bought one factory sealed back when they were a dime a dozen. So we had the Conker's Bad Fur Day end at $2,200 here. The Mega Man 64, $870. As I said earlier, Mega Man 64 is really very common on the system, so 9.0A, 870, yeah, that's what I would expect for that. Pokemon Snap, $1,200, only a 7.0A. Would have done a lot better if it was an actual high-grade copy. 6 copies of Gauntlet Legends 64. As I just said on Conkers, Gauntlet Legends 64, one of the most common factory-sealed N64 games. Always has been. 6 copies are inside of here. 6 supposedly brand new mint copies. I say supposedly because you never know with the case back. They could have slight damage inside. The Mickey Mouse game popped off. Yeah, Thane, you are right about that with it only being a 7.5A+. These Mickey games, though, always sneaky do well. Always. There's a lot of demand for this series. And it looks like that's it for the factory case there. So 6 games inside. We saw them sell at an average price of $450, give or take. $450 to get a case fresh Gauntlet Legends 64 sounds about right, honestly. I do assume you can open this case, grade them all, and make some money. Mario Party 3 you think was the last game to be released? It was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 Mijitsu. Last game released on N64, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Which is why it's a little bit available, or was a little bit available. As of now, it's pretty dried up. Bomberman Classic Series, 9.2A, $300. Not too much to say there. 9.6A Plush Crash Bandicoot, The Huge Adventure. I don't think it's a rare GBA game from what I can remember collecting GBA. I did GBA very seriously for about 3 to 5 years. This Crash game was never something people chased after, so seeing it sell now for $660 is a bit surprising. Here's Danny Phantom, 9.0A+. I don't know. You guys tell me. You see some Dreamcast stuff. What are your thoughts on Dreamcast games sealed? Prodigy Visions. If you go after the main big series Dreamcast games, I think you'll do very well. I don't think there's a ton of eyes or demand on Dreamcast right now. I think it is still a bit more collector driven than speculator driven. So if you know what you're looking for with Dreamcast, if you know what the big games are, those real... You know, when you think Dreamcast, you think of certain games, or there are certain games that are specific to the console. I think you can do well with them. I don't think they're overpriced right now. I think it's a good place to still look. Yeah, anime wholesales. Pokemon Snap is not exactly a rare game at all. It's another one that I'm pretty sure was available in factory cases for a while. Obviously, they dried up very quickly now, but yeah, Pokemon Snap, not a game that I would call rare at all on N64. Do I think an auction site like Heritage, or even Heritage themselves, will ever accept VGA graded games in the future? Yes, Gabagool, I do. I don't know if Heritage will. I'm not sure about that, but in about 2 weeks here, we have Golden Auctions entering into the video game space. Golden Auctions will have VGA games on their website along with WATA. So that is already going to be another major auction house entering. There's also Certified Link and Comic Connect, which do offer VGA graded games. So even if WATA doesn't, other stuff will eventually and already do. Literally selling a house tomorrow and considered spending 6 to 7K on a sealed Shantae for GBC to get it graded. What do you think? Good investment? Brian? Honestly, yes. It sounds absolutely stupid to say and ridiculous, but I think if you can get a sealed Shantae for GBC in good condition for that 6 to 7K range, and you just hold on to it for a bit and you get it graded, yes. I absolutely think that game will continue to grow into the future and be the most important Game Boy Color game. I do believe that. I do. And here's the Pokemon Ruby now. Now that we've filtered through all of that other GBA garbage, we have a 9.2 A+. Groudon over Kyogre, if you ask me. And Ruby, I think, does sell for more in general than Sapphire. Whether it should or not, I don't know. Now, I've been saying a lot that these 9.0, 9.2 games generally end in that $4,000 range. So we'll see how this one does. And we'll price comp it right afterwards to see. Well, after the Mario Bros. This is the other decent GBA game. $5,000. Oh, $4,800 on Ruby, sorry. $4,800. Not quite $5,000. The Super Mario Bros. Classic NES series on GBA, again, not really a rare game. I wouldn't say it's even more rare than any of the other classic series NES games for GBA. But the demand has always made this one by far the most expensive of them. I would say that's honestly a very decent sale for it. Let's just open this one up too. So the Super Mario Bros, they've only offered it, what, twice before? Look at this, hey? 9.2 A+, $264 back in 2019. $74, April 6, 2020. It's hilarious to look at. But the Pokemon Ruby, the 9.8 A+, the 9.6 A+, 8.5 B+, back in April. We don't actually have this grade coming up for Ruby much. Surprisingly, only 4 listings in the past, what, since April, May, June, July, August, September, 5 months? And yeah, the 40,000 was a 9.8, the 19,000 was 9.6, so here's your more normal version of Ruby selling for almost 5,000. And here's the Spider-Man 9.8 A+. Again, not really a rare GameCube game or anything, but if you're a Spider-Man collector, this one might appeal to you. $780 there. Same with Ninja Turtles. I know it's sold before an auction, but we'll look at comps after it sells. Doesn't Heritage charge a lot of extra fees after you buy? Petros, the extra fees are shown here. So this is the price right there on the Turtles, $700, and then $840 is with the extra fees. So that's with the 20% fees tacked on. Always look at this price when you're bidding, this W/BP, because you are paying this price, you're not paying this next bid price. Always look at this price and then always calculate the fees in advance. And I wanted to see the comps on this 9.8 A+ Turtles. First time we've offered it. All right, never mind.
Fair warning.
So 840 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you have this version of the game, might want to send it in for grading. Targeting the big franchises in original Xbox and 360 is safe right now. Yes, Cosmo, that is where I would go with that as well. That's where I would go as well. Just get the big games for 360 and Xbox and wait and hope that demand follows. Wonder if low popularity for Genesis games is a good forecast for how popular Dreamcast will ultimately be. It's tough to say, Austin, because I don't know if Genesis has low popularity necessarily, or if it's so damn difficult to find factory sealed Genesis games. It's hard to say. That's a place where a population report would really help. Chocobo Dungeon 2 though, 9.4 A++, really cool game that we even got over in North America, and I think this is a steal, isn't it? Chocobo's Dungeon for only $660, 9.4 A++? Chocobo's Dungeon 2, sorry. I doubt it's ever been offered before on Heritage. Yeah, no, it hasn't been. But I feel like on eBay, it's like worth that much for a raw one. Final Fantasy Origins, 9.6 A++. Final Fantasy Origins has always been super available by the case, so you're going to see this one come up in perfect condition a lot more than other Final Fantasy titles on PlayStation, but still a Final Fantasy game, right? So the Final Fantasy Origins, $780 there. And now we have Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, 9.8 A, kind of blowing up. Damn. That was some hella bidding action there. $9,600 on the Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Which, I mean, yeah, sure. It's a huge game, right? Super iconic. Only an A seal rating, but shit. You can see we had it come up. This was a drill hole copy, so take that for what you will. $780 to have the drill hole. Or $4,800 for the perfect condition copy back in April. So this game has gone up a lot in value since April. If this one only sold for $4,800 and now we're seeing an A seal rating sell for 90, literally twice as much. Wow. Wow. That's a massive appreciation on that game. Good purchase. And here's another Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, or Mike Tyson's Boxing, which is becoming a weekly staple here at Heritage. $1,300 for the 9.6 A++, $500 for the 9.4 A++. I would personally rather pay $500 for the 9.4 than $1,300 for the 9.6. What's your thoughts? Curious to hear your opinion on that. Would you go up $800 to have a 9.6 or would you take the 9.4? Does factory sealed Panzer Dragoon Saga exist? Yes, they do. I can't give you sales data on them, but yeah, they exist. The Parappa the Rapper sold for $900. Is this like kind of a cult classic on PlayStation? This game has never really meant anything to me, Parappa the Rapper, but that's a high price. I'm surprised to see it sell so closely to the Parasite Eve 2 in 9.8A+. Sega Frontier 2, another Squaresoft game. It's actually really cool how much Squaresoft we get in these auctions. Oh, it's a UPC Punch promo copy. So how much is that gonna hurt? It looks like the punch is right there. It's not as bad as a drill hole. You can see I don't think WATA actually lowers the grade for the UPC punches, but I'll just show you guys the UPC punch here if you don't know what I'm talking about. We'll go to the back of the game, and you can see right here, because it's for promotional use in some version, they just put this hole punch through the UPC so that it can't be resold. And that has historically really affected prices of games. You're dropping the 6.5K on Shantae with my advice? Woo! Brian, I sincerely hope it goes well for you, man. Congratulations on selling the house. Congrats on the investment if it ends up going through. How much do I buy graded versus ungraded these days? Getting more and more stressed buying ungraded. Crangy, I almost exclusively buy ungraded. And that comes to do with my own confidence in assessing and knowing if I'm buying a legit game, and also from eBay bin hunting. So I almost exclusively buy ungraded games, grade them myself, and take advantage of that arbitrage between ungraded and graded. That's how I've done most of my career. And I just want to see if there are comps on the Sega Frontier 2, which no, there are not. 384 though, does seem kind of cheap for that. If you've never seen this before, this is the Siphon Filter 3 911 variant cover. Fair warning. Which features anthrax gas and the American flag in the back, but here, it writes it up right here. I'll just finish the story on that. We saw it sell for $3,100, which I think is another promo copy. Okay. So the promo copies are absolutely selling soft, because $3,100 for this is super soft. You can see the promo copy, the little hole right there. We do have comps on this as well. You can see back in the 9.6A++, $120. 9.6A+. Damn, this actually just sold shitty. This actually just sold pretty shitty. $6,000 back in the signature. We had the 9.8A++. They're all actually promos. They all have a promo punch. But 5,200, 6,000, and now 3,100. Yes, it is only a 9.6 A+ versus A++, but I don't know if that should cut it in half. They probably should hurt the grade. Yeah, it's interesting that they don't actually detract from it, Rick. If it's the drill hole where they literally take a drill and drill hole it, and drill through it and make a hole, they do lower the grade for that. But the UPC punch, they kind of treat as their own variant almost, where it doesn't actually detract from the grade. It's kind of interesting. UPC punch should not affect the grading. Clinton, I'm kind of on that side as well myself, but from an objective viewpoint, if you are taking the game itself, right, which is what we're grading the game, the cover art, and all that stuff, and you were to take a portion of it and literally remove it, it should hurt the grade, right? And that's why them treating them like they're separate, kind of like a separate variant, I understand, but it also makes it really hard to compare these UPC punches against normal versions. I don't know. I guess I understand the drop in price, because if you want to look at it from an objective viewpoint, taking out that big circle chunk of the art has to drop the grade, and it's not a true 9.2 A++ or 9.6 or however you want to look at it, right? Because if you were to be objective about it, it would be like a 7.0. Take it for what it is. It's an interesting discussion. And Rainbow Six, which, is this the first Rainbow Six game? First game in the long-running series. 7.5A, $312. I would really like to see a high grade one of this sell. I also didn't do much Rainbow Six at all in my life. I barely played the franchise, but I'm curious to see how much respect it would get. Thoughts on Valkyrie Profile PS1 game? I think it's very collector driven. I'm not sure if it'll ever get that speculation hype mainstream appeal. Like, Valkyrie Profile is obviously a really cool game, really big title, very expensive, but it's kind of along the same lines of like Persona for me, where you're always going to have really good demand, but I'm not sure if it'll ever reach that upper echelon of collectible. And I'm not shitting on it. Like, I own a copy of Persona 2. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know if they'll ever get to that really high level of speculation investment. They might, right? I would love to see it, but once PS3 and 360 games go up for auction more, do you think the collector editions will hold a big premium? Philip, I don't know if the collector's editions are going to come back and take over, because we're really seeing the first print, original prints of these games be the really expensive and sought after versions right now. I don't know if the collector's editions are going to come and take back over. I really don't believe in the massive, legendary, epic collector edition games. I don't believe in those ones. They're simply too big. But if you talk more like Modern Warfare 2 Hardened Edition or Demon Souls Deluxe Edition, those ones that are more manageable size, those ones could in the future come back. It's really hard to say. That's anyone's guess. Here's Star Wars Republic Commando 9.8A+. Cool to see some of the Xbox Star Wars game coming up for auction. $28. That one sold for $780, and I'm sure that's the first time it's been offered. I'll just check really quick here. Yeah, it's never been offered before. And here's Star Wars Starfighter Special Edition, which I'm surprised this doesn't say only on Xbox. I don't think this is on any other console. Maybe it's on PC. Maybe that's why it doesn't say only on Xbox, but Star Wars Starfighter, $504 for the 9.8A+. Honestly, I think Republic Commando for only $780 sold a little bit light. This game has never really been that common. I don't know about Starfighter as much. I haven't followed this game as closely, but Republic Commando, damn. And here we see Superman again selling for way too much. I've said last auction, you can just pop on eBay and buy one of these for about $30. Are you a noob moron for paying $8 for Deep Badge upgrade? Oh, they got you, ZNG. Bah, WATA got you, man. Oh, that's hilarious. You paid the $8. No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Pay the $8 if you want. Doesn't matter. What we did have there was Alien vs. Predator, 9.8A+, which, I mean, again, right? If you want to speculate on 360, that doesn't seem like a terrible price to pay for AVP. Maybe I'm crazy, but you can't ever see collector's editions being super popular. Speaking as someone who has bought a bunch, too big, clunky, less nostalgia for the cover art, harder, more expensive to grade, etc. Exactly, Austin. They are just not nearly as manageable. They're just hard. First edition Charizard is CGC 7, just low-key sitting in the Heritage Weekly here. I didn't even realize this. This was a first edition Blastoise for $1,200, and the Chansey in PSA 8, which I think is a massive steal here for $564. Kind of wish I would have bid on this. And here's the Charizard selling for $6,000. Any idea what I should expect for a 9.6A++ Mortal Kombat Trilogy PS1 Greatest Hits? Joseph, probably not a lot, honestly. Mortal Kombat Trilogy Greatest Hits, not a great game, all things considered. Mortal Kombat Trilogy isn't even that great of a... Like, it's not bad, but you know what I mean? Out of Mortal Kombat games, not a really sought after one. So selling the greatest hits of a game that already isn't that sought after, not gonna do too well. Austin A, $5. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. I know I just ragged on Collector's Edition being too big, but damn, I saw some VGA graded PC big box games and I think I'm in love. Do you see a future for big box PC? Austin, I absolutely see a future for big box PC. I think it is one of the most overlooked portions of the market right now where you have... I don't know how much you know about PC, Austin. I have never been a huge PC gamer, but if you actually know the huge ass PC games that... You know, when you think of Nintendo, you think of certain games. If you think of your PC games, like maybe Diablo 1, StarCraft, Counter-Strike, these big games that you can purchase, I think they have huge potential in the future. They already aren't easy to find from what I'm seeing on eBay, but I just don't think that right now, I don't think right now They're being as appreciated as they should be and as much as they will be in the future. That's my full thought out answer on Big Box PC. Thank you for attending. So following that track on PC Big Box, with how rare and easily damaged they are, you'd think even lower grades like 7580 could have some appeal, right? Absolutely, Austin. You're thinking the right way. Because of, you know, if you can find a VGA 95, like first print of Diablo 1, that should genuinely be a grail piece. Same with like first print World of Warcrafts in high grade. You know what I mean? These really big PC games in high grade, yeah, I think should absolutely be seen as grail pieces. And maybe they already are. I don't know how difficult it is to even track down something like that. Even to track down something in VGA 80-ish, right? I don't know, but I think they're, yeah, underappreciated right now. What's my most sought after game and card right now? I would love to have a high grade Banjo-Kazooie or Mario Party 1 on N64. Both are childhood favorites for me. Wish I would have grabbed them years ago. As for card, I mean, I want to get an LOB and an SDK Blue Eyes first edition. I have like a PSA 6 SDK Blue Eyes, but like, I would love to bump that to a 9. LOB Blue Eyes, I would love to get an 8 or a 9. Can't get the 10 on either of them, I don't think. But yeah, those are my most sought after games and cards right now. I can't really swing any of them. MP3 over MP1? Rick, I don't know, man. Like, I know that MP3 is probably a better game overall, but if I was actually to sit down and want to play one right now, my order would probably go Mario Party 2, Mario Party 1, Mario Party 3. Just being honest with you, man. I'm just being honest with you. Let's rip through the recap here. To no one's surprise, Super Mario Bros. 3 9.6 A++, selling for $33,000, which I have to assume that if this was in a signature, $50,000 is realistic. $33K in the weekly is still huge. We're always going to see Mario Bros. 3 be one of these top tier NES games. This, if I had to draw a comic parallel, if you're a comic investor, collector, I'm going to try and draw a parallel right now. Is this kind of like a Hulk 181, where the population count probably is never going to be low on Mario Bros. 3, but the demand is always going to be super high? Is that a fair comparison? Let me know in the comments. Pokemon Red version comes in second here at $10,500 for an 8.5A Sandshrew print. I did do price comparison on it quick, and this is exactly where we would expect it to fall. We just had one in very similar grade back in July, sell for $11,000, so slightly worse condition, slightly less money, nothing really to see here. A big surprise though for this auction was the Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter for $9,600. We covered the price comps for it earlier in the auction, but we saw it basically double in price from what a 9.8 A++ sold for earlier this year. A huge appreciation on Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Donkey Kong Classics 9.8 A+, $7,200. We had a first edition Charizard here for $6,000. That just snuck its way in. Pokemon Ruby, $4,800. As we saw, we haven't really seen that many 9.2-ish grades come up. That 9.0 to 9.4 range on Pokemon Ruby, we actually haven't seen that many. So $4,800 creates our first price point for that. eBay will have additional sales data for games like Pokemon Ruby, so always make sure to look over there as well. Ninja Gaiden 8.5A+, $3,900. From what we saw, not many Ninja Gaidens come up, kind of surprisingly. It'd be really interesting to see a population report on a game like this to see just how many there are out there. Siphon Filter 3 911 edition sold pretty soft this auction, only $3,120 for a 9.6A+. We saw the 9.6A++ sell for twice as much earlier in the year. Factory case of Gauntlet Legends, $3,000. Probably not a terrible price, about $450 a piece, but like crazy to see the factory cases of Gauntlet Legends getting this high. This has to be. Perfect Dark is probably number 1 for N64, and then Gauntlet Legends is number 2. Maybe. It's one of those two games. They're fighting for the one spot. Conker's Bad Fur Day 9.2A selling for $2,200, and Silver Surfer 8.0A selling for $2,100. Silver Surfer is a bit surprising at $2,100 because it's just not that high of a grade. The ceiling on this game is super high in that case. We had Spider-Man come back to auction, only sell for $2,000. How long do you typically have to wait between sending to Heritage and seeing it in an auction? It'll be weeks, if not months, Austin, from my experience a while ago. That was back in 2019. You might be looking at months at this point. Contra Legacy of War, $1,600. Parasite Eve 2, $1,500. Always good to see some PlayStation games popping off. The PlayStation selection at Heritage has actually gotten really, really good the past month. So if you're looking for PlayStation games, definitely come check out what they're offering here. Super Mario Classic NES series on GBA selling for $1,000. Only a 9.0A as well. It tells me that this game has a lot of room for a higher price. I wouldn't be surprised to see this sell for somewhere in the $5,000 to $10,000 range for a high grade one. Pretty crazy to think on a GBA reprint of Mario Bros. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, a 7.5 complete in box, second print, only $600. I did want to look at this because this just felt super soft. White Bullets here, White Bullets, only $660. I guess not. I guess this is right where it should sell. But I swear on eBay, they're pulling higher prices right now for complete in box Tyson. There's not a whole lot to make mention of. It's always hard for me to point out which games sold really weak when they only sell in that $300 to $700 range, you know what I mean? I don't follow comps on those ones nearly as closely. But anyways, coming down to the bottom of the auction, our big loser this week was, we had a tie. We had a tie for loser this week. Phoenix, Atari 2600, $55. And we had Asteroids, 5.0 no seal, $55. So two losers, $55 each. Did you snag one of them? Get yourself a WATA game for cheap. But anyways, that does it for this week's auction recap. Hope to see you next week for the live chat. Come on in, ask any questions you want. Hopefully see you there.